It's about 7:15 Monday morning. FedEx delivered my parts to the wrong place on a Friday through the weekend. So I've spent Friday, Saturday, and Sunday trying to get them. So I'm going to be making videos intermittently on how long it takes me to put it in. Earlier last night, and I didn't put the clutch plate, the pressure plate dowel pins in the freezer. You do that so, since they're kind of an interference fit, they get cold and shrink up a little bit, so they'll just slide right in. Just make sure you put them in the right place the first time. So it's about, I don't know, 9:15 now. I'm sorry, it's 8:15. Okay, so I experienced a little trouble, but it's in. It's 10:03. I have to calculate how long it took me. I didn't put the dowel pins in the freezer last night like I was supposed to, so it took me a couple of hours to get them cold enough to go in. And the torque on those bolts is only 25 foot-pounds. So it doesn't sound like nothing, but you're working against all of that. Of course, the clutch disc alignment tool that Centerforce sent me was the wrong one, and I had to make do, but it's in there better than I could have done it with my hand. So you take the good with the bad. So now it's break time. I'm gonna go get me some coffee. Okay, so it's about 11:15, and it's 11:15, and I'm probably about close to being done for the day. I hurt my back last night playing with my dog, and I put a new starter cable in there. So I have to hook up the starter first. Need to put the starter in there first. Or so I can do it without fighting with the headers. And I may wish that I'd put the headers in first, because it's tight. You can barely get the starter out of there with headers in, and I need to make sure all of my bolts are tight on the cables and so forth and so on with that. So So after being absent from the project for several days, I'm back at it. It's Friday. And like I said before, it doesn't just go in there. So I'm trying to get the front of the motor tilted up to the right angle where the transmission will clear the body, because it hits. So I'm pretty close now. Okay, so it appears that I have the transmission back in the car. But like everything else, appearances can be deceiving. I still have to bleed the clutch and yada yada yada. See what my lines are. I got those other bolts put in. I have the starter in the car. I don't have it wrapped up yet. I have 2 starter cables on there, and the cross member, and I'll have the drive shaft loop put back in later. I started yesterday, and I must have finished about 2 o'clock today, and then stopped because I started to get physically exhausted. So that's where it's at. I'll be glad to get back on it soon. And if you're a real Ford guy, then you know what that is. That's the speedometer and cruise control mechanism, so it's electronic. So I had to make a pin to go in there to keep the cable from jumping out, and it's so tight, it's just ridiculous tight. But that's the way that we had to put it in there, so it works. That cable was made by a guy, and his name escapes me, because every one I would buy from a parts store, according to him, was wound backwards from the way that these actually turn. So if you started going too fast, what would happen would be it would unwind, the cable would unwind. So all I really got done today was I bled the hydraulic clutch, and I put the drive shaft back in and bolted up the drive shaft loop, which wasn't fun. And of course, bolted my cross member back in. And this is Monday, December the 12th.